Hello, fifth graders. Welcome to Reader's Workshop. Today, we're going to be working out of a leveled text that we will find in Benchmark. Right? It's called Voting Matters. Right? And today, we're going to look at a story of a woman who was fighting for women's right to vote. And tomorrow, we're going to look at another story in the same book that takes a look at how African Americans fought for the right to vote in our country. All right, so if you remember, we start by going to Clever. Right? You always log in with your Google account. Right? And then once you're in Benchmark, you go to Assignments. Okay, mine might look a little bit different than you, but if you go up right in the upper left-hand corner, you're finding Assignments. And the book that we have is called Voting Matters. Okay, so it looks, let's see if I can flip back to the cover here. Okay, it looks just like this, Voting Matters. And it's a collection of short stories. Right, so the main idea of all these stories is to show you why voting is important and how hard people in the past have worked for our right to vote. Okay, so today we're only focused on this first story, Lucy, a suffragist's story. Okay, and then the first subtitle here is called The Scrapbook. Right, so as you read, you'll look for clues to figure out words you don't know. Right. And specifically, I know in one of the questions that we'll be working on is trying to define what the word publicity means. All right, and you'll run into that word on page 8 during your reading. And see if you can figure out what this word means. All right, and then when you come to page 12 in your reading, we're going to stop and pay attention to the picture. Okay, cite the text evidence that supports your inference. Okay, so what is most likely happening in the picture on page 12? And then we're using evidence to support. So you want to look at the words that you're reading on page 12 to help support what you think is happening in the picture. All right, and then on page 14, what does the newspaper headline, "Harding wins in a landslide race," mean? Okay, so we're looking at this idiom and you describing, or what do you think it means? Let's see if I can, I'm not really being able to see this very well, but maybe if I open it up here. It says Harding wins in landslide mean. Okay, so this phrase is an idiom. Okay, so based on your reading, what do you think it means? All right, so we're reading to gather information. We're reading a nonfiction, okay? Even though this is written in a story format, okay, it's giving us information about what it would have been like to protest or to fight for women's right to vote. All right, and remember where this book is, because tomorrow we'll read the next story. So if you're feeling motivated or really curious about an example of how African Americans fought for their right to vote, feel free to read the next chapter today as well. All right, so there we go. Nice work. Even though you haven't started yet, you got to get down into that hard work today of finding the book, reading it for understanding, and then you'll find the 3 questions in Schoology.